Hey, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
We are here to, I don't know, are we whining? I don't know. Before we start whining about Can't Summer Be Fun, I
We're
just want to
definitely gonna
mention
whine. Just a
we're
warning.
going to whine a little bit, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll try not to make it annoying. I just want to mention, I had said at the start of the last episode that there were two countries that knocked Canada and Australia out of our top three. The other one, I want to mention the other one as we start out. The other one is Japan. So thank you very much for listening, Japan. The people are mostly in Tokyo. Please tell your friends and neighbors and colleagues to continue to keep you in our top three in our ratings, Japan. We appreciate it. In the United States, I'm not sure if we've ever shouted them out before, but this time we have creeping up there in our ratings, West Virginia. So welcome aboard, West Virginia, if we've never said you before. And Allison is super, super excited because she went to college there.
I went to college there. Let's go, Mountaineers. That's right. You could be number one. I have a very deep love for the people of West Virginia. I went to college there, and I am deeply proud of going to college there. So yes, you go, West Virginia. That's right.
Wow. Okay.
I'm done now, Cindy. I'm done. I'm fine.
You done? All right. That's good.
No.
All right. As long as you're good. As long as you're good, we're going to start whining about Can't Summer Be Fun.
Yes.
I've read in the past couple of weeks, I've read several articles about movements by philanthropic organizations that support education. Articles connected to some of the charter schools, some other systems that are once again saying, should we go to school through the summer to make up for pandemic developmental and educational gaps? I can't believe we're still having this conversation and that people have not realized the world has changed. Our expectations need to be adjusted. This isn't a matter of catching up. This is a matter of adjusting based on societal needs and things happening or that happened with these children when they were very young in their earliest years because of the pandemic. But this does not mean that we need to suddenly abandon, I don't know, days off or summer, summer. And I'm so worried, by the way, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, even though it may somewhat apply to some older children, is that there's always push down to the younger children. So if the children who are older are doing this whole catch up thing in the summer, that's going to be the expectation of early childhood programs as well. They're going to be discouraged then maybe from having more of a summer camp kind of environment. There's a real problem with that. And I would like to talk about that in light of what's happened again because of the pandemic. It's almost like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Children during this pandemic had less playtime, less socialization time, less time discovering that learning can be fun. They had less of that in the first few years of their lives. It continues that they have less time playing, less of the same sort of socialization that existed before March of 2020. We have not gone back as if it's 2019. And even then, in 2019, there wasn't enough play and there wasn't enough socialization. So what do people want to do? They want to take even more of it away by saying no to fun summer. And that's my, I can't. I
can't with this because I feel like what's going on is a lot of not celebrating childhood anymore. That's what I feel is going on. Like, I feel like you could sense it. The school that I'm in does not do a lot of celebrations, and I feel like that's a shame. I understand we are there to learn. However, the children should still be having fun while at school, especially at the age that they are, especially since the children that I work with were born in 2018 and 19, and right at the time where they would have been able to walk and talk, boom, a pandemic happened. So so why are we taking away what, honestly, I feel like we're taking away their childhood, and it's like childhood already kind of is getting taken away slowly to begin with. Why are we taking more? Why do we always want to take away from them?
Learning can be done in a really fun way. They can learn a whole bunch. The relaxation time in the summer, even in most childcare settings where the children go year round, right? They're there for 12 months. There's a difference in many programs between what's done in the summer and what's done during the traditional school year of September to June. In the summer, in many childcare programs, they have this very fun camp atmosphere.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of that? Additional socialization. A little more, but not really like the sort of socialization that many of us had when we were children, when we would just go outside and play with neighborhood children. They don't do this anymore.
They don't do that
so
anymore.
We need to replace it. If we start to say, you know what, let's make summer for everybody at all ages pretty much look like the rest of the year. When on earth are children doing this? Yeah. I kind of, and I've said this to Allison, I kind of wonder though, should there be thought given to the entire school year and how it's conducted? Should we maybe have 1 month off in the hottest month in most places? I know some places have the same weather all year, but there are places where we have hot months and very wintry months. Should we say, instead of having 2 to 2.5 months off in the summer, maybe it would be beneficial to have less time off in the summer and move some of that time to winter so we don't have to worry about things like snow closings and all that. I know it doesn't work well with people's work schedules before people start writing to us. I know it may not work well with work schedules, though work schedules have changed some in the past 3 years. And I know that there are places in the country that work on these trimesters having to do with preschools, right? They have like trimesters, and somehow it works for people. Maybe the programs provide care during that month, and it would be just sort of like fun and camp-like in the winter for the children.
Because I feel like even some schools are doing that now. When like during spring break, a whole camp happened during spring break at the old district I worked at. Not during winter break, but like during spring break, that whole week, there was a camp going on. Because it's a weird week to have parents not work, you know? It was like the middle of March, you're like, okay, cool. So they would have a camp. And if you needed it, it was there. If you didn't, you stayed home. Like that's, and so maybe it would just adjust like that, where you would have like a winter camp and it would be indoors, and you'd have a summer camp that's outside. You know, maybe. I don't know. I don't
providing
know.
Children, providing children with socialization, excuse me, more play and socialization at a couple of different times of year, not just concentrated so much in the summer, which is how it is where we live. Yeah. I think we have to think about, would that also help with teacher burnout, to say, okay, you get about a month off in February, let's say, you get a month off. So you can go and regroup and recharge and come back. And then we go to July, and then we have a month off in August, right? Something like that. Maybe that could work. But to reduce the amount of time that children get in that socialization atmosphere, I'm sorry, at any age, I think that that's a huge mistake.
It's a huge mistake.
What are we doing? Why are we not thinking about the fact that the world has changed, and so education needs to adjust with it?
Why do they constantly
Not in a way that's detrimental.
Right. Why do they constantly say, meet the children where they're at? And then here we are saying, we're not going to meet them where they're at. They need to be where where we used to be in 2016. Okay. Like we're going to have those same things. Like, no, but the children are different. They were born. Some of these children were born during the pandemic. Some of them are still suffering the effects of this pandemic. You know, like, it's like, why aren't you meeting them where they're at? You preach that all the time. Meet the children where they're at. And then you won't. No, you're not. Now you're saying, let's take away.
And now
summer.
We're like, no.
No. We didn't mean that. We didn't mean that. Let's take away their whole summer now, because they're not allowed to have fun. You know, they're not allowed to be children. They're not allowed to socialize. They're not allowed to go on summer vacations. They're not. Let's just make it like the adult world, where you just constantly work, and you get a week off here and a week off there. Okay, no, they're children. They need a break. You know, you're not.
And these children, they have years. They have years to learn. They have years. Yes. And we're always acting like it's an imperative right now, this year. The children must catch up to this benchmark. You know what? We have years to work with these children and to look at our benchmarks and to say, okay, so maybe that's not going to be accomplished this year with this era of children, with this generation, maybe we need to think about that for next year and decide, by the way, what are the underlying causes of children who are performing at a level that may be different than before March of 2020. And when you look at the research, you're going to find that a lot of the underlying cause is a lack of meaningful playtime. Play is when children practice what they've been taught. If we say, okay, listen, we're going to take away a lot of that good playtime from summer break, for example, we're going to take that away. And the children who attend our programs, instead of having that sort of atmosphere where play is really highly promoted for a couple of months, instead, we're going to go back and do everything like we do during the year, which includes play, but is in a different way.
Yes.
All year long, early learners should be playing. In the summer, everybody, the adults and children, relax a bit and kind of go, okay.
Like almost like more free. Like it's like,
yes,
it's like, like it's, and there's different types of play that happen during the summer camps than you would put in your classroom. Like you have the whole like water play day sometimes, or like you go on more field trips sometimes during the summer. Like you have these different things that happen during the summer because you can, the time is allowed. Whereas like during the school year, it's like, no, we have this and we have this schedule and we need to follow that, which is good because the children need structure. But during the summer, you're like, we can forego that for a little bit and go on this field trip, or we can forego that and have water day this day. And it's more like loose, like they're
right.
still doing stuff. There's still structure there. They're still learning, but it's more like a free kind of like loose kind of schedule, which I think is what everybody kind of needs that, because I feel like teachers too, like if all of a sudden we're like, what?
We all need some downtime sometimes. Just time to have a good time.
Yes. And I feel like there's
speaking
so much
of
less
which,
of that now.
Right. Well, I mean, there's so much less of that overall, but what are we teaching children when we look at them and essentially say no breaks? No breaks. Yeah. What are we teaching them about how to take care of yourself, how to balance work and your life? We're not teaching them any balance. People are so focused on there's this goal that maybe the children are not meeting that they aren't thinking we need to teach children about work-life balance and actually having this time of year where some children may be in a more camp-like atmosphere and some children are maybe they're going to their same program, but it's a whole different perspective on how they're going to work with them for a couple of months. We're teaching children about work-life balance when we do some of that. So I'm not sure why people still in 2023, as we approach this summer, feel like, oh, we better get back to taking time away from the children because we're still seeing pandemic delays and loss. Of course you are. As Alison said, the first few years of their lives were spent this way.
Yes.
You can't undo that. You can't unring that bell.
I also think, not every school, but there are some schools you need to look at what your benchmarks are. Because I've worked at schools where their benchmark was at kindergarten, they wanted them reading at a second grade level. Well, they're not in second grade. They're in kindergarten. Yeah. So then when the child would be reading at a kindergarten level, which is completely normal and developmentally appropriate for them, the school would be like, but that's not good enough because they should be at a second grade level. No, they shouldn't because they're not in second grade. Okay. And so then it made it seem like, well, in 2016, the children all in kindergarten were doing second grade level. Okay, that's great, but maybe not great because that's not appropriate either. But still, look at your benchmarks because sometimes you're asking these children to meet one that is not their age level.
Right.
And just because the children of 2018 were able to do it doesn't make it right. But okay.
Okay. Alison, I'm going to say,
like, I can't.
Not every child. I'm sorry. But not every child in 2018 could do that either.
No.
All children have been on a continuum of learning, right?
Yes.
All children have been on a continuum of learning. And this whole notion of we need to catch everybody up. Okay. You're not catching everybody up to your benchmark. That isn't how children operate. Children are on different levels of understanding. And like Alison said, why can't we just meet them where they are and continue to move them forward? But without taking away these really meaningful, important times when they get to practice that socialization and play that has been so lacking in our society even before the pandemic took place. Even before then.
Yes.
So I'm not sure why we are back on this conversation, but here we are because I keep seeing it. We need to advocate as people who care about young children, whether you're teaching them, you're an administrator, you are a parent or another caregiver. We need to advocate for this time for the children and say, no, we don't want our children to have to give up the breaks that they have whenever they are from this sort of concentration to we want to advocate for this time when the children get more of this socialization and just relaxing time. That's what we should be advocating for. Everybody stop worrying about who they're going to be by the time they're 20. They're not even near there yet. We can still work with them in ways that get them there.
Yeah, because there's this whole thing of like the preschool to college pipeline, where they're like, what they do here gets them to college. No, I guarantee you they will all go to college if that's what they choose to do. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean at age 3, they should be setting themselves up to go to Harvard. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be learning year round with this thought of like, oh, well, if they don't, then they won't get there. They will get there, but like, why are you putting that kind of college pressure on a 3-year-old? I don't get.
I don't know. And I'm thinking about programs I work with that go 12 months, clear through the summer, and they purposely pick topics that are for summer fun. Like in the summer, they may work with the children to study things like water and sand, or something having to do with, I don't know, outdoor activities and sports. Like they purposely pick topics, topics that allow for that more camp-like. I keep calling it camp-like, and I'm not sure, but that more like
kind of is. I think that's what most people call it. Is like the summer camp. Yeah. Even though they're still going to the same location, the same building, they still call it camp. Because I think it kind of lends to what they're doing. It's a little bit let go. It's a little bit more fun. We're going to have more events. We're going to have more field trips. That's what camp is. And that's what it should be. Not that they're not learning. They're still learning. They might be doing a unit on sports, which is great, but like you wouldn't necessarily do like your wintry topics then. You would do something fun that gets the kids outside, gets them playing, gets them to learn about something different that they wouldn't be able to learn during the school year,
Right.
Like,
right.
I don't know why we're taking away their summer though, when so much more you can learn so much. I feel like even the children who are home during the summer and not going to these camps are learning a lot there too. Like I was a child that stayed home. I learned so much, but I was outside the whole time, or I would help my dad cut the grass, or like there was so much. But I also was able to just sit there and chill and watch TV if I wanted to for a little bit, or read a book, and like the books that I wanted to read. Like it was like, but I was still learning, just in a more relaxed atmosphere.
Listen, children learn every waking moment of the day, every day of the year. Yes. We don't need to come at them in that way. It's really about understanding where they need our support and providing that to them, no matter how we are sort of designing the year. Now, if programs or schools for older children are really worried that these children are not spending time in any kind of educational setting, well, let me tell you what, every setting they're in is educational. Whether they're going to day camp, sleepaway camp, they're staying home, whatever it is, it's all educational. And whatever. Education can still be infused. Like Alison said, it's more time for them to do things if adults give them the opportunity to do things like, let's spend some time. We're going to go to the pool and we're going to read, or, even things like grandma needs your help taking care of your brother. These are really important skills about caring for others, caring for yourself. Yes. Whatever the children are doing in the summer, I promise you, they are learning things, and they're going to take those lessons with them throughout their life. It doesn't need to be keep them in our classrooms and we got to continue on. Yeah. And may I add, it is certainly not these young children's fault that this world experienced a pandemic. We have taken enough away from them, I think, because of this pandemic. And there was no choice for a long time there. Families were not given a choice. We have taken enough away to now say we're going to continue to take things away from your childhood. I think that's just awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I think it's awful. If this comes up where you work, where people are saying maybe we shouldn't do the summer campy thing because children are struggling with understanding how to do skills or play or do things that they used to do in the past, it is not helping them to take that time of day away or that time of year away. It is not helping them. They need these times of year and these different types of perspectives to be functioning in order to learn to be a functioning part of society later on.
Yeah.
So please just, stand on the soapbox with me and say, there are things that the children are missing out on if we do that.
Yeah.
That are not being taken into consideration. And P.S., children learn every waking moment of every day.
Every waking moment. Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Maybe even sleeping. Who knows? Maybe even every sleeping moment. They learn, their brains are in constant action, regardless of whether we have them in the more formal part of a school year or in a more camp-like atmosphere. The children's brains are still very active, taking in and interpreting new information.
Yeah.
There's no reason for this drama anymore, I don't think. I think we just, I don't know. But there it was. Like I showed you, Alison, there it was.
Right. Well, because when I read that, I was like, I think my reaction is like, you've got to be kidding me. I was like, why are we still talking about this?
Why are we talking about it?
I don't understand. Like, what? I think my reaction originally was like, okay. I think that's what I wrote you. Okay. Because I'm like, really? This is what we're talking about?
This has to come to an end.
Yes.
Listen, summer is coming. Everybody, please make sure that your summer programs are still going to exist the way they always have for these young children. And if you work with children or you have children who are older, again, advocate for them and go and say, why are you doing this? If you hear that, the system that your child is in is considering doing this, you need to go and say, okay, that is not helping my child to learn other lessons that they learn at that time of year.
Right.
Please let the panic end. Everybody stop it. I just want to look at people and go, just stop it. Everybody, please stop. Just stop it.
We can stop
please.
Now.
100%. Speaking of which, it's time for us to stop. So we are going to let everybody go and ponder this. And we will catch you next time on the podcast, folks.
Bye, peeps.